Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Jonathan Hart and I am a father, a son, a husband, a friend of the community, a neighbor, and I'm a guy who's been going through family court for a long time. This is the first episode of a new series called Cracking the Code: How to Win in Family Courts. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a psychologist. I can't give you legal advice. I'm telling you during this series how you moms and dads, because it happens to both of us, there's certainly opinions on the equity of the family court system in terms of who's typically more favored in family courts. But I'm going to get into that. Just hold that in your pocket. What we're going to talk about today is how to make a stand in the family court system and not be a slave any longer. Many times this message will go and be received by fathers more than mothers. It's just how it goes. But moms, I'm talking to you as well. It happens both ways, okay? So let me begin. And this is only part one. I'm going to be bringing a lot more videos to this channel here in the future. Okay. Headline: Judges control the courtroom, but you control your life. That's the bottom line. I'm going to say that one more time, just to make sure just to make sure that it's absolutely understood and clear. The judges, the referees in the court of equity, family court, control the courtroom. You control your life. If you're watching this video, it means that you have children and you love them. And if they're not in your life is a living hell. Everything that you've worked so hard for, all the possessions, if you got a boat, a house, a nice car, whatever the hell you have, doesn't matter. You want your children in your life. It is your human right to have your children in your life. And you might be shaking your head, yeah, this dude's right. But the family court system in the United States and elsewhere, not every place, but in many other places, is a huge financial racket. In the United States, it's about a 60, 70, 80 billion dollar a year racket. You can't bring change by advocating for conflict resolution. You're not going to do it. You're not going to unravel a 60, 70, 80 billion dollar a year system. You can only do your part. And when you do your part, and I'm talking to you, the one listening to this video, when you do your part and you have 1 million people doing their part, all of a sudden that $70 billion a year racket, and I said billion with a B, goes down to about 30 billion because people stop participating. And that's the central theme. No participation. Now, what does it mean by not participating in the family court system? It does not mean that you give up on your kids. We're not talking about giving up on your children. What we're talking about is educating ourselves across the board on what works and the benefit of the children and what doesn't, what exacerbates the problem. The problem that we have is that we have judges, custody evaluation people, forensic psychologists, social investigators, those are the worst, and guardians ad litem, maybe second worst as far as the racket goes, all generating revenue on the family court racket. These people have zero souls in their bodies. Trust me. And you have to go through it to see it. It's a huge epiphany when you actually see it for what it is. So, in line with today's theme, non-participation and cracking the code, how to win in family court, what I would proffer to all of you is that you be ready to take a stand, to make a stand, to be a martyr. You're not walking away from your kids. What you're going to do is you're going to walk into court and say, I'm no longer your piggy bank. I am not your cash machine. I'm not your ATM. I'm not your bank. You'll always support your kids. Always make sure that your kids are taken care of to the best of your ability. But continuing to pay the money that you earn, no matter how less or how little or how much, to continue to throw that at all the flying monkeys of the family court system, you might as well go piss in the wind, ladies and gentlemen. You're not doing anything right for your kids, and continue to place your kids in harm's way by testing and evaluations and putting them in non-properly credentialed mental health people that are practicing beyond their bounds of professional competency. You're not helping anybody else. Except, well, you're helping to fill their pockets at your expense. Don't participate. When you walk into court, make sure that your attorney, well, I represent myself, so I get to say these things. Attorneys don't like to say this stuff because they have to litigate in front of the same judge all the time, and they don't want to piss the judge off. That's the problem with attorneys. And you're spending all this money and you still don't get anything done. But when I walk into court, I tell the judge, I'm not participating. I have no interest. I want to be in the lives of my children. I want to see my kids, but I have no interest in participating in this matter. I'm not going to pay tens of thousands of dollars for some investigation or this, that, the other. If opposing counsel or your ex-wife or your ex-husband, if they want something, good. Say, okay, they can do it. They can pay for it. That's what you have to do. Don't participate any longer in the nonsense. Take the money that the court is trying to tell you that you got to spend in order to be back in the lives of your kids. Put it into a trust fund and some sort of irrevocable trust. Let it be there for the kids. Because remember, right now your kids will emancipate at 18, 19 years old, what have you. But then they're going to be in their 20s and they're going to need you. They're going to need a mom or a dad in their lives, depending on your situation. Many times it's the father that's being extricated from the family, but it could go either way. Sincerely. And by the way, dads, don't get pissed off at women just because your ex-wife is a pain in your rear end. And ladies, don't hate men just because your ex-husband is a narcissistic asshole. Men, women, fathers, moms, we got to come together. Take care of each other. We're all going through this together, and we're dealing with a personality type on the other end. Come together. Don't hate each other. There's a lot of fathers' rights groups and everything. Those are great. The problem is it generates this motif in men that women are bad. Guys, don't do that. Okay? Don't do it. There's really, really good women out there that would not do to you what your ex is doing. Some of us have beautiful kids from the wrong woman. I'm living that nightmare. So listen, let's stay focused. You need to make sure that at all times you're willing to go the distance. Now, how does that show itself? What does that mean? Guys, if there's no other kids in your house and you got a custody issue, I'm talking to the guys now. I'll talk to the ladies in a second. But guys, you got a custody issue? Be willing to go to court and say, I'm not participating. The worst I can tell you is, well, you're not going to see your kids. There's no fee to pay to see your kids. If they're a year and a half, 2, 3 years old, maybe you should pay the fee. I don't know. But if your kids are in their adolescent years, 14, 15, 16, you got to remember, these kids are already trying to detach from you. It's part of their detachment system before they become adults. Even if they were living in your home, these kids are trying to go hang out with other kids and go somewhere else. You're not going to be able to bring these kids back into your life and try to reattach a bond at the same time that they're trying to detach from you. What you have to focus on is saving that money. Save the money. I'm not saying don't pay child support. It's not what this video is about. I'm talking about saving the money. All these other investigations and nonsense, screw it. If it's good therapy and they take your insurance and you get to choose it, fine. But as far as all this other nonsense about social investigations or custody evaluations, stop now. Those two things, child custody evaluators and social investigations, are the two biggest rackets just ahead of the guardian ad litem. The guardian ad litem is a big waste of time because of referral fees. They recommend somebody that doesn't make sense. It's not the best qualified person, but they get a little chip off of that. They get a little percentage. It's all a big racket. It's a business. Family court system does not exist to help you in your situation with your kids. It exists for revenue. That's the whole point. You got to understand that. So when it comes to cracking the code, what I'm really saying is this. You must be willing to present to the court that you're no longer interested in doing it anymore. And there's quite literally nothing that they can do. You're not interested. Oh, Mr. Smith, are you telling me you don't want to have your kids in your life? Of course I want to have my kids in life. Well, you're going to have to do X, Y, Z. I'm not interested. I don't have the money for it. It's not good for my kids. It's not beneficial to them. It's not in the best interest of the minor children. I can't afford it. Whatever your specific situation is. It's different for everybody. You might be saying, yeah, you might be right, but that's not with my situation. I can't assess every situation on this video. I don't know. Your situation is your situation. Take whatever little piece. If I go on for 15 minutes right now, take one little piece, one little message, and apply it to your situation. That's all I'm saying. Apply whatever I say and take that one sentence and apply it to you. But what needs to happen is moms and dads need to wake up and say, we're not participating anymore. Doesn't mean we don't want to love our kids and be in their lives. I'm not talking about child support. It's a whole different topic. There's nothing to do with this. Some say child support is inequitable and it sucks. Some people say, yes, it makes the children whole. The mom, she stayed home and dad was working and mom never had a job. That's a 10-hour conversation on a different YouTube channel that I'm not going to have. But I'm not advocating not paying child support. I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying all of these other modalities within the family court system where you're throwing money away and it doesn't fix the problem, there's a reason for that. And I'm going to wrap up here in a second. I'm going to tell you why that occurs. I'm drinking my orange juice. Hold on. Sorry, guys, I look like crap. I come out at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning while my wife is sleeping with all the dogs that are asleep because I don't have any silence in this house. It's chaos. I got 5 dogs, a pig, and a cat. Seriously. And 6 fish. And a wife. But she's great. Well, I'm going to tell you guys why throwing money at the problem never works. Doesn't matter who's paying. Conflict continuation is what generates revenue in the family court process, okay? Conflict continuation. If we resolved problems, there would be no revenue stream because the problems are resolved. When attorneys get new clients, a mom and a dad who can't figure their own shit out, and there's 1, 2, 3, 5 beautiful kids in the middle, the family court system and all the bad actors make a wager. They make a bet. Like putting a chip on number 18 or red or black on roulette. You're making a wager that the parent who does not have custody, that desires to have custody, is going to blow his or her entire financial portfolio on bringing those kids back into their life because it's an emotional attachment. 100 years ago, a mom takes the kids away from a dad, he just goes and stabs her. She goes bye-bye. 500 years ago, it would never happen because the value system was different. I'm not advocating violence, by the way. Do not do anything stupid. I'm just saying things resolved themselves differently a long time ago. Today, we got to buy into the system, and it still never resolves anything. But you have children in the custody of one parent, and they do not desire for their children to have you as a mom or you as a father to have the children in your life or to have them in yours. So the family court system has figured out a calculus. It's an algorithm. And this is cracking the code. Once you understand that the custodial parent who does not desire reunification will be favored in every type of reunification therapy, social investigation, custody evaluation, then you realize that the fix is in. You're not going to be able to get anybody to agree that you should have access to your kids because they know that the second they put in a report, which brings you as the non-custodial, non-allied, non-attached parent back into the picture, the revenue stream stops. They don't care about whether or not your kids have you in their lives. They don't give a shit. It's business. They are emotionally detached from the process. They may posture as though they care about your kids being in your life, but they really don't. I'm telling you. And you can take that to the bank. I got $3 on me. It's somewhere. I think I got $3 over there. I'll put $3 on the table to the first person that can tell me otherwise. If I had more, I'd wager more. The problem is you're being wagered against. That you are going to spend every single dollar that you have and be a slave to the system and pour money into investigations and evaluators and therapists. Has nothing to do with whether or not you're a good dad or good mom if you don't have custody. It has to do with your ability to continue to pay. So what I say, cracking the code, and we're going to go through this in more videos, but this is my first one. Cracking the code is understanding that first element of the problem. Guardians ad litem, child custody evaluators, forensic psychologists, social investigators are not there to try to heal and bond the family. They exist solely to exacerbate the problem and continue the conflict. I'm going to leave you guys with that before going into further detail. We're at about 17 minutes right now. I'm going to launch this on my YouTube video. It's going to be my YouTube channel. It's going to be brand new. And I'm going to start helping you guys understand this dynamic. There has to be an epiphany. There needs to be a paradigm shift in all of this. And if there's 2 million of us going through it, and we all check out and say no more, not checking out on our kids, just checking out on dealing with the flying monkeys of the circus that is the family court system here in this country. If 2 million of us check out at 60 to 80, 100,000 per person, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. We could make $1 billion dent in this system. And at the same time, do what's right for kids, not what fills the pockets of these flying monkeys of the family court system. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is John Hart, and this is just the beginning of the journey. God bless. Take care.